Hey guys, Alex here, otherwise known as Clash of Style. Welcome back to this video where we are going to be jumping in and taking a look at some super witches. Now, the thing about super witches is you don't have too many of them in your composition, so when you're doing these attacks, it really is vital to make sure you funnel them and get them all into the base. And the attacks we're going to be jumping in and taking a look at today, these are really good examples of how easy it is to execute these attacks as long as you find the right type of base. Now, most of these attacks we're going to take a look at for today do come in with those zap spells to start off, and then the Grand Warden Walk. So I'll try and talk you guys through it step by step as they do it, and how they are able to bring in these 3 stars, the kind of spell comp that you should bring with those sort of attacks. But if you guys are new to the channel, I really would appreciate it if you could drop a like and a subscription on this video. Leave a comment down below if you're going to give super witches a try, or if you already have, let me know how you did get on. But without any further ado, let's roll this intro and go and check out how to use super witches. Alright, so the first attack we're going to be jumping in and taking a look comes in via Kairos. Now, this was in the charity war that I streamed a little bit of recently. If you guys haven't already, I have done a video covering the highlights of that charity war. I think the link is still in that description if you guys still are feeling generous and want to go and donate. But jumping in here, taking a look at this attack from Kairos, going to be using the Earthquake and the Zap here, and you can see that these box compartments very common in the meta right now, and you can see we get a load of value there, taking down 4 structures, including that single target Inferno, which can be so incredibly dangerous to these super witches. So whenever you find a base with one of these compartments that is going to get a lot of zap value, and it's going to help create that funnel, because you can see it really did help create the funnel. We took out 4 structures and then the Warden took down the rest, and now we can bring in those super witches. That is going to pull this Grand Warden down to the bottom section of the base. We've actually got the King and the Siege Barracks. That is going to be the most common of the funneling troops. We're going to see the Siege Barracks for the siege, and usually going to use that King as well. Going to push in these super witches from this bottom left hand side of the base. We didn't really end up getting too much from our Warden, but he did take down a couple of structures which allowed us to really create that funnel. Out come those clan castle troops. We don't need to bring a poison spell in this composition because our super witches and those big boys out in front do have so many hit points on them. Again, you do not need to actually use that Grand Warden's ability through the Town Hall. You can save that for slightly further on into the attack. I tend to try and save it until we get into range of maybe 1 or both scatter shots if possible, because usually they can get through the Town Hall nice and quickly. They're not going to die to the Giga Bomb, unlike Yetis, Bowlers, those sort of troops. You can save that Warden ability for the back end of these attacks. Kairos bringing those Hog Riders out of the Siege Barracks in combination with the RC, they take out the whole entire right hand side of the base, getting some really nice value, which allows these super witches to continue pushing on through to the remainder of this base. We do still have a free spell and 2 of our hero abilities in hand as well. You can see continuing to push up through. Unfortunately, we didn't have anything to break through this last wall section, so our troops are going to be getting stalled up here. The big boys, however, tanking for that single target Inferno, and we still have those healers chilling in behind, and these healers are vital for these sort of attacks. The super witches will slowly start to take damage, as with any troop, throughout the entirety of the attack, but as long as those healers stick with the group, you are going to just get so much value. You can see absolute overkill here, swagging that first free spell, a really good example. Let's jump in and check out the next one. Alright, so the second one coming in here, again, coming in from Kairos. He did come in with a 6-pack in this war. Going to be using a very similar composition right here, coming in with those zap spells, coming in with that Earthquake, and you can see I can guarantee Kairos said I'm just going to look for the bases that I know I can use these super witches on, because it is such an incredibly strong strategy. Here, Kairos actually going to be using those zaps and the Earthquake to take down every single one of the structures in that compartment on the bottom section. 5 zap spells and an Earthquake, I believe, is how many it takes to take down a single target Inferno. Even if that was a multi-target Inferno, it still probably would be beneficial to take that down, because it really does help create the funnel. Again, bringing in that King and bringing in that Siege Barracks on that left hand side. So we've got the Zaps with a Grand Warden Walk to start things off, creating the funnel on one side. Then we've got the King, the Siege Barracks on the other side, and then we can lure our Grand Warden back over to where we want to push everything up and into the base, which is exactly what Kairos does here. Brings in those super witches, actually uses a super wall breaker here to open up that first wall section, and then is going to be able to push throughout the entirety of the remainder of this base. Down goes that Town Hall. We don't, like I said, need to drop that Eternal Tome ability. We are going to save it till further on in the attack. In comes the Hog Riders now from that left-hand side. I would assume we're going to be bringing in those, our Royal Champion relatively soon. Unfortunately, those Hog Riders do get smashed pretty hard by that scatter shot before they can actually take down that single target Inferno. Well, looks like we are finally going to bring in that Royal Champion. Maybe Kairos didn't realise that his siege barracks had already popped. He really could have done with that Royal Champion coming in, supporting those Hog Riders, because that is when you want to bring her in on these attacks. In combination with the Hogs, she can get a lot of value. They tank for her, she tanks for them. It's kind of a match made in heaven. Continuing though to push throughout the entire, or the remainder of this base. You can see we are going to lose the Super Witch right there, but we bring 5 in these sort of attacks. So as long as those healers can keep a good few of them alive, it's not going to cause us too many issues. We do still have that Queen ability to drop as well. A free spell for the back end of this attack. Maybe not slightly as much overkill on this one as with the previous, but going to bring in a couple of those archers now for cleanup. Cleanup is vital in these sort of attacks. Those Super Witches can be very, very slow. So make sure you bring at least a couple of cleanup troops, archers, minions, a couple of wizards maybe, those sort of things. But you can see here Kairos just about has enough to push through the back end of this one. Gets a nice split actually here on his troops. Some go to the bottom, some go up to the top, and they can finish this one off with another triple. And again, another swagged free spell. Very, very nicely done. So let's jump in and check out the third of these Super Witch triples. Alright, so a slightly different composition coming on through here for Tony in this one, deciding to actually only bring in 4 Super Witches rather than 5, but again, very, very similar to that of the previous attacks we have seen. As long as you can get the value from your Grand Warden at the start, and your King and your Siege Barracks to create that funnel, it's going to be looking pretty good here. So Tony actually deciding, rather than zapping down a single or multi-target Inferno, he zaps down a scatter shot. Now, if you guys haven't realized already, scatter shots now, rather than 5 lightning spells and 1 earthquake, they actually take 6 zap spells. So we've seen that sort of play used a lot less, but Tony realized here that he could get some really nice value from them. Deals with a scatter shot nice and early. King Siege Barracks combination coming in from that right hand side, and then we're just going to push everything right through this top section of the base. The Grand Warden got a good chunk of value on that top section, allows these Super Witches to push their way right into the Town Hall compartment, and then we can get that healer switch over. Actually going to decide to drop that Eternal Tome ability to take us through the Town Hall compartment right there. Was taking quite a chunk of damage from the Eagle Artillery, from the enemy heroes, from a few different defenses, so it seems pretty worthwhile there for Tony to bring that in. Using the Royal Champion slightly differently here, because we actually have still of those troops coming out of the Siege Barracks and the King in combination, going to be tanking for those Hog Riders on the right hand side. So Tony here can actually bring in the Royal Champion just to help create that funnel a little bit more along that left hand side. As these Super Witches are tanking the defenses, the RC can just come in, start sniping them off one by one, get some really, really nice value. Smart play coming in there from Tony. So rather than bringing it in from the right, deciding to bring it in from the left. However, that play means we do not deal with that scatter shot on the right hand side, but luckily here for Tony, plenty of troops pushing through on the back end. Looks like we still got the majority of our Super Witches left up. We do still have that Queen ability to drop as well, and there is plenty left up here on the back end of this attack for Tony to bring in that triple. Very, very nicely done. So the next one we are going to be jumping in and taking a look at actually is a live attack from a recent war I covered for Brian Fan Club. So enjoy this live commentary in one of my recent streams. Okay, BFC going to be coming in. Here we go. Delinator with Super Witches. Saying it before he's even properly came in. Surprise, surprise. Alright, so he is going to be zapping down, I would assume, the single target Inferno. Starting off the... So he's going to be zapping down this multi-target Inferno, starting off the Grand Warden over here, dropping in those 3 sneakies nice and early on. That's going to help create that funnel. Down goes the Earthquake. We will drop in those zap spells nice and quickly. After that, we'll deal with that multi-target Inferno. Down they go, taking it down, cleaning out that entire compartment bar the cannon, but the Warden should hopefully step up and deal with that himself. We do have a couple more sneaky goblins to be brought in. I'm surprised we've not brought one in on this. Alright, King going to be coming in over here on that left-hand side of the base. Now going to be bringing in these Super Witches from the bottom section. We don't have any of those Super Wall Breakers because we did have to bring in these Sneaky Goblins to help with that funnel. Going to be jumping everything over right there, trying to push these Super Witches nice and quickly into that Town Hall compartment. Alright, so the jump spell is going to give them access into the multi-target Infernal compartment as well. I would assume we're probably going to drop the Eternal Tome ability. Nope, we're going to keep a hold of that Eternal Tome ability. Has that poison spell to go down on the Lava Hound for when it pops. Multi-target Inferno is certainly causing a couple of issues. Down goes that poison spell right there. Certainly a slow start to this attack coming in for Delanator. Hog Rider's now going to be coming out of that siege barracks maybe a little bit earlier than Del would have wanted. RC now going to make her way in as well, though. On this left-hand side, luckily that scatter shot is being tanked for by that P.E.K.K.A, so the Hogs and the RC not going to take too much damage. There is that Eternal Tome ability finally going to be dropped in the center of that base. This is going to help push these Super Witches right on through the back end of this attack. No spells left up here, but we've still got those group of Hog Riders and the RC ability to drop on that top section. Queen ability still in hand as well. Those Super Witches starting to get a little bit held up here on the back end. But this P.E.K.K.A OP helping with that cleanup. We will need to drop that RC ability now. She has been held up by that Tornado Trap. Alright, so there is the RC ability. That's going to take us nice and quickly through those Teslas on the back end. We've actually had a pretty sweet Super Witch split right here. Queen ability still to go in as well. And Del brings back... So he was a little off form in the recent streams that I've done for Brian Fan Club, but he's back. And oh baby... That is indeed a triple coming in right there, dropping down that Queen ability. Pretty much got, in fact, I think he's still got every single Super Witch alive. He does. He's still got that P.E.K.K.A swinging all the way around that map. And that is the first triple on the board coming in for Brian Fan Club via Delanator. Alright, so that is all we've got time for today. Hopefully you guys did learn a little bit about how you can use Super Witches in these war attacks. They've been really, really strong for a while, so I just wanted to bring to light the fact that they are still incredibly OP in the meta if you can find the correct base to use them again and you can execute those OP attacks correctly. Big shout out to Del, who was just featured in that last attack, and the guys over in Brian Fan Club. They've been incredibly supportive of me, the channel, my stream, twitch.tv/ClashWithStyle recently, and yeah, it's always nice to give a little bit back. But if you guys haven't already, make sure you leave a subscription, drop a like in the video, leave a comment below as well. Let me know how you guys got on with these Super Witches, and until the next one, I'll catch you guys later.